Hello, this is Epic. My name is Travis and I'm a recovering sinner, and I would like to thank you for being with me this morning, today, for about 10 minutes. 10 minutes to focus our time and attention on God and what's going on in the world and what it means for me. I want to ask a question. Is the coronavirus a judgment? Is God judging the world? Does God judge the world? Have you ever felt judged? Have you ever felt guilt and shame about things that you've done, circumstances of your life? Because we can see that line of cause and effect that we've created our circumstances. The prodigal son, he finds himself in the pig pen, eating the food he's feeding to the pigs. And how did he get there? He thought he knew better. He thought that he could have it his way. And so oftentimes, when we think about judgment, this is the words that God impressed on my heart, that a city or even an individual that does not bear the marks of revival must bear the marks of judgment. And it's only judgment. Instead of using the word judgment, because judgment tends to imply a punitive relationship. That is, you've been sentenced and found guilty, and this is your just rewards, your just desserts. So let's use the word discipline, because this is what the Bible tells us in Hebrews chapter 12, verse 7 through 12. It says, let me bring it up, endure hardship as discipline. God is treating you as his children. So this is the thought this morning. When you think about things in life that are hardship. The coronavirus is a hardship. It's causing a global hardship. It's a shaking. It's when I got to get my 13-year-old up in the morning, I've got to shake her, because saying, hey, it's time to get up does not work. Turning the light on does not work. It's like she's in such a deep sleep. The only thing that can rouse her from that sleep is to be shaken. And so the world is being shaken, and so we can look at this and say, oh, it's just what it is. But so oftentimes, 9/11, other world events, what it does is it wakes people up, and they turn to God and they say, God, please help us. And so, you saw this in 9/11, church attendance spiked. And then as things got better, church attendance went back down to nothing, or back down to its pre-9/11 levels. And so here we are again, and it feels like God is doing something. And this is what I see. We can say, is God punishing me? Is God bringing judgment? And I would say, it's discipline. If God is our Father, it's discipline. And why would God discipline us? And I see this in the Apostle Paul's life in 2 Corinthians. He talks about despairing of life, that he's brought to a place where he's certain he's going to die. And he tells us that what he learns in that moment is that he's got to learn to depend on God. And God delivers him. And so what if God does not remove our self-reliance? We would never depend on him. The warning to the church of Laodicea is that you say you are rich and have need of nothing, but you can't see that you're poor and blind. So the church of Laodicea they'd come to this place where they didn't need God. We don't need God. We've got this. We've got our programs. We've got science. We've got medical advancements. We've got prosperity. We can buy anything we want. We can create anything that we desire. We're living the good life. And this was the warning to Israel when they went into the promised land. It says, when you go and move into houses you didn't build, and vineyards you didn't plant, and all these things, when God blesses you, don't forget the Lord your God. And so what do we see when we face hardship? Hardship is just this reminder to lean into God. And that would be discipline. If we're not dependent upon God, we need that discipline in our life, because living in our own strength from our own resources will leave us empty. This is what the Bible teaches again and again. He says, we dig broken cisterns. We try to fill ourselves up and find our contentment and our happiness in created things. And created things will never satisfy us. So we have something like this that shakes us. And so I predict that we'll see church levels, church attendance increase. We'll see a spike in spirituality, of looking into the things of God, and there'll be increased. There'll be an increase in people declaring, that this is the end of the world. Maybe it is. Or maybe it's just the same thing that has gone on since the beginning. Wars and rumors of wars, famines, sickness, disease. This is the world that we live in. And we can look at it as just a natural phenomenon. We can look at it as a conspiracy. Or we can look at it and say, God is on the throne. Nothing comes into our lives that he does not allow. So whether it is judgment or just hardship, we can take it as discipline. Do we need discipline? Yes. If God didn't wake us up, if God didn't continue to shake us from our complacency, we would just keep going down that road, and we would live a vain and empty life. We would get to the end of our life, take our last breath, step into the throne room of God, and be like, oh, this is what it was all about. But, what if I only live to gratify my own desires? Do I only live to gratify my own desires? I believe that we can look at our lives. We can look at the way things affect us, and we can see what we're living for. If we're living for others, if our care and concern is about lifting up other people, about loving other people, if we're considering others more significant and important than ourselves, then it takes all of that stress and that emotional worry about me. What am I going to do? How am I going to get through this? It takes all that away. So endure hardship as discipline. God is treating you as his children. This is Epic. My name is Travis. Thanks for joining me today for 10 minutes. I pray that God brings revival. Won't you pray that prayer with me, that God would bring revival to his church, and through his church he would bring revival to the world. Till next time, go in God's peace.